Sometimes I feel like I'm caught in a riptide. It's pulling me out to a watery grave. Sometimes I feel like I've seen enough. It's all too much. I feel like giving up on better days.
Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. That is Better Days, and you've entered Album Listen Challenge Special Edition Best of 2023. If this is the end, from Seattle's criminally underrated and extremely talented singer-songwriter Noah Gunderson. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, tonight's Album Listen Challenge is a show where I pick an album that my panelists have not heard, but I do consider could be worthy of discussion for Beyond Your Radio's top 23 albums of 23, which we do in December. For those not new to the channel, thanks for returning. Although tonight might shed some tears, as this album is close to my heart, don't think this is the end. Click that subscribe button. I promise you there's so much more music you'll be blown away by, and this is just one of the many that you may not have known about. Please like and comment at the end of the show so the beast of terrible burden that is the algorithmic burden does not think it's the end. This album has been reviewed on Album Review Saturday by me, and I will give that to you just briefly. The sign on the album says, "Shiny happy people need not apply." That is probably very correct, but if you were to pass this one up because of the title and the emotional depth and depression thematics, you might actually be missing out on one of the most honest, impassioned songwritings of the year, not to mention the actual production of this record and the piano playing. From the lead title track through, If This Is the End is a lyrical listener's dream. You can't turn this on in your kitchen and start cooking. This is definitely an album for a listen and solemn reflection. Again, like the two prior albums I reviewed, Noah, and that are in this, but his lead is the vocal. It all has to do with the vocal, and you need to be listening. The lachrymose feeling has crept in on me many times, and that's why I lead with Better Days. It just comes crashing into your soul. It was some of the most exact words in despair that I myself thought most of the time. I have an immediate connection to Noah's plea, his wonderment, his disappointment, and his position of self-doubt. There are hard things to shake if self-absorbing, while we realize how destructive it can be to the people around us. The effects of the ferocious speed and demands thrown upon us by this universe, and to most people, at least those that are trying to make a living, I'm wondering just how many listeners out there in the music multiverse should actually connect with Noah Gunderson. It should be millions. So that being said, and my dramaticism of it all, I do believe that this record, although new to the overall 2023 that I talked about at the beginning half of the year, this one is creeping up and up and up every time I listen to it, which was 3 more times today. But at this point, that's just me. Let's find out what our panelists think. So joining me tonight, the Grateful Dude and Jeff Young. Thank you, gentlemen. It would have been great to have the ladies here, but I think something went wrong. So maybe we'll have to get some feedback after through their comments and or likes. So I'll let it start off with the Grateful Dude, just in case your voice gives out.
Yeah, it's been flustering lately.
Sounds good.
Okay, this, first of all, I've never heard of them or heard of him before. Mark sent me this album last week, and I've listened to it 4 times, and I will stand you corrected there. It's a great album to knead bread to, because I kneaded bread for half an hour a day, and it was a great album because kneading is mindless, so you can listen.
Okay.
So,
I've never needed.
well, you need a lot, my friend. So,
This is true.
but
This is true.
Very
so,
needy.
I have a different take. I've talked to Mark about this album, and I have a different take. I get a lot of, as I said, I really don't know who this band is. I get a lot of country. I get some
I
twang.
felt
I get, yeah, I definitely get country. If I did not know better and read his bio after I listened to it, I would have thought he was a full-blown country singer that was just doing a mellow job of it. The man, this album is not the one you listen to if you're listening to for some good instrument playing and stuff, because that's all in the background. This album is all about his voice and his writing. His writing is sad. It's kind of dark. It's the kind of stuff. He reminds me of an early Billy Joel when Joel was writing from his heart. Now he writes for his pocketbook. I really like the if this is the end, fabulous song. Moments like this, haunted house, headlights, terrible freedom. I really enjoyed them. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I listened to it. Normally, if it's an album I really don't like, I won't give it more than twice and then give you my opinion on it. But
Yeah,
I gave this one over 4 times, and I don't know if it's in my wheelhouse to the point where I tend to gravitate towards happy albums, and this is a kick in your face album. It makes you contemplate certain things, which is not the reason I listen to music. You know, and we all are different like that. But was it a good album? Absolutely. Does it deserve to be in one of the best of 23? I would say absolutely. The writing on it is phenomenal. Yeah. The words, the lyrics are really, really good. The music, the melodic music is like an afterthought almost.
Very sparse. Very sparse.
Very sparse. You know, it's a little guitar here, and now here and then you'll hear a little bit of something here and something there. But
did you hear, like, I don't know whether he was playing a foot pedal organ, or it just seemed like there was things that you could just, like, you were hearing the click.
It sounded like a Hammond to me.
Okay, all right.
It sounded like a Hammond. I heard the same thing. It sounded like a Hammond. It's hard to tell. This could have been one of these. I mean, we don't know who the musicians were because I can't find them on the cover sheet at all. So I'm wondering.
So Noah Gunderson played did vocal piano. Harrison Whitford was on guitar. Tyler Carroll did bass. Dave Dalton on keyboards. Andy Gunderson on violin, backing vocals. I'm sorry, Abby. Jesus. My apologies. Sean Lane did a little bit of drum percussion and some sounds, but Andy DePark was the co-composer on the song Better Days. So that's that. I can tell you this, it wasn't easy to find that. I had to go digging to find that because I had to put it on
I mean, you would have to. I was able to hear some of the instruments when I connected this to Spiral Audio, and I was able to hear a little bit more, but it's definitely recessed. As I said just before, this song was made for the vocals and the lyrics, and not really the music so much. So, yeah. Mark, do I rate this one?
Oh yeah. So what we do is we do, again, album production, album flow, songwriting, musicianship, and the total number of songs, and then your overall rating. So I have my pen ready. You may start with album production.
It's 4. I don't think it was superb, but there was nothing really wrong with it.
Yeah.
Flow? 4. Nothing
Songwriting.
really wrong with it. It's okay. I would have switched a couple albums, a couple songs here and there to make it flow a
So
little
what would
easier.
what do you know what you'd switch, or I'm curious?
Yeah, I would have switched Swim to the end, and I would have put Terrible Freedom in the Future up towards the top.
Interesting. Okay. So Swim would have been the ending, so just before Swim would have been Love is Blind, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm kind of Terrible Freedom. Well, we can talk about that. Me and Jeff Scott, I don't want to go into on that stuff, but that was one of the songs that didn't hit me right away. It took me 3 more listens before I realized what he was actually singing about. So, your songwriting.
5.5.
It's just-
This is a songwriter's album. So
yeah. Musicianship.
5.
Yeah.
I mean,
even when you talk about, even if it's sparse, it's how it connects, right? And it's
but
so well done.
in my book, a vocal and musician,
Yeah.
it's still musicianship.
Yep,
You know,
it is.
Well,
Yep.
This whole thing is an instrument.
Yeah, it is.
Correct.
Total number of songs you liked, really liked, I should say.
That's hard to say. I think I really liked a lot of them.
When you mentioned your things off the top, the songs that you mentioned were all the bangers. You know what I mean? They had that higher, like a little bit more bang to his voice instead of so melancholy.
Yeah, well, some of these songs you can fall asleep if you're not careful. So, but
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4.
Yeah.
If this is the end, fabulous. I love Swim. I loved Haunted House, and I like Headlights. Those are my top 4.
Yeah. A lot of people had the headlights on theirs too. So if you were going to totally rate the album, what would it be?
4.5.
That's cool. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the next time I'm depressed, I might put this album on. So
not a good idea.
I will say he has a tendency to be in that wheelhouse more often. He even did a song on a couple albums back on Robin Williams. It's the title song.
Yeah, this song, it's very good. I kind of wish he would have at least just picked one track, and maybe he's done this in the past because I don't know of any of his other work. But how about just doing one song without any instruments at all? Acapella.
Like acapella.
Yeah, I think.
I'm not sure his voice could have support acapella.
I don't
know. Are you guys familiar with Glenn Hansard?
Yes.
No.
He wrote the Oscar-winning Once and he's with that woman in God, I'm gonna butcher her name. Marketa Ergolova, with the band called Swell Season. His vocals sometimes when they hit that higher pitch, so much reminds me of Glenn Hansard, and even the lyrical writing and the songwriting reminds me of Glenn Hansard. But I if it was an a cappella piece, it would probably fall in the lines of how Tracy Chapman did Across the Lines. Oh no, wasn't Across Lines? I had the wrong song. But she did an a cappella on her first record, and you wouldn't think she'd have a vocal that would do that, but sometimes people rise to the occasion and bring out a little bit. But I can see where Grateful Dude's making his comment, where it might not be pulled off. But go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, it was interesting at first, especially with the first few songs where you're like, oh, okay, there's some strings in the background. And I thought it was weird with Swim that it almost sounded like electronic drums, or like a drum machine, and I don't know. I was like, okay, 3 songs in, like, did he do everything himself? Or is there actually musicians, or like, what is the point of that? But again, it's really led by the vocals, not much on the music, in my opinion. But it's funny. Like, there was definitely some country tones, especially when I got to like Everything Is Now. Like, I feel like this is something I could hear while watching Yellowstone, or you know, but good stuff. I mean, I think the guy needs a hug. These are like songs to cut yourself by. I don't know, but it's really good. I mean, I think I'm more interested in hearing what else he has as opposed to listening to this over again. I'd rather hear what else he has. So I feel like, this is what's the odds that this is his best album? I don't know.
I guess okay, for me, the Carry the Ghost is my favorite. But when it comes to this one has been, it's something about the timing and the wheelhouse of everything I'm at right now. So, okay, so I'll read this to you. This is from him as to the album and putting it out there. And he says, "My hope is that these songs will find you in the ways you need. Here's another message in a bottle. I hope it washes up on your shore at just the right time." And that's a pretty interesting way of looking at it.
So, Mark, what did the critics think about this album?
It's getting a lot of critical acclaim from singer-songwriters in that vein. They hearken it. One of the people said something about it hearkening back to Carry the Ghost in its how well the production was put together, even in its sparse placement. I want to say, I mean, here's just some of the notes from people. Where do I have it? Noah Gunderson's music isn't exactly in my wheelhouse, but I really like a number of his songs and have been a casual fan for a while now. After hearing the first couple songs from If This Is the End and subsequently purchasing, I am now an advocate of his music. While everyone on this album has at least a couple really good songs that I picked out, this one is great from start to finish, and a few outstanding songs to boot. He loves Swim, Better Days, Everything Is New, Painted Blue, Haunted House, and Terrible Freedom. There's a quote from somebody down here that Terrible Freedom is just as he sings on Terrible Freedom, what does it say? This is quite simply a beautiful album. The quality of the songwriting and production are excellent, and there is a level of consistency across the entire collection that may not have been there on the last 2 or 3 albums. As he sings on Terrible Freedom, let's make this a good one. No more effing around. Remember, it says that right at the very beginning, and mission accomplished. And I think that's a very good quote. Do not hesitate to pick this album up, an outstanding album by a highly talented artist who's not really well known by much means, right? So
the one thing I was gonna say on it was the female that does like very, very, very back up to it, like almost.
Yeah, it's Abby.
Song.
Abby Gunderson. Yeah.
I think they could have included her a little bit more, just because like some of the songs I feel like it's so limited. He could have accomplished the same thing by just using an echo. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I just think that it was kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, well, these microphones on this recording were very close to it. Sometimes I thought there wasn't because his voice had it seemed like it echoed a couple of times in it. But yeah, I love that she was in it because I think it did add to it, especially with Haunted House. Haunted House maybe. Well, even in the banger one, now I'm gonna hesitate to what the song was called. It's the one that really sounds country and like it should be on radio. Moment Like This.
Moment Like This.
Moment Like This. Yeah, she's on that pretty heavy. And that's the longest song on the record. I think that's like Better Days I think is 6 minutes, but yeah, they're both in that realm. Yeah. So Jeff, on your side, what's your album? If you got more to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'd say I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd say at least 5 of them. More than the rest. I feel like there's so much similarity between all of them. I wasn't gonna pick them all, but again, good album. I like the voice, the way he sings. Just a little bit too much of the same for me. That's why I think I want to to hear something else from him, just to see what else is there, you know.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot more instrumentation on the record two back, which was actually in another list of my 2020 of best albums of a year. So yeah, there's plenty in there, a lot of depth and difference in music styles and stuff too, because he can throw down too. Album production, what's your 1 to 5?
I mean, I'll just go 4.
Okay. Album flow.
I mean, I can't find anything wrong with that. I'll go with 4.
Songwriting.
I mean, I need to listen to more of it. I probably would. If I listen to more of it again, I might go higher than that, but I'm just going to stick with a 4.
Okay. Musicianship.
I'll just say 3, just because it's not applicable.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, and your overall rating?
Got to go with a 4.
Okay, all right. So just in case people were wondering on my side, I thought the album production, because of what it had to be and what it went and meant to accomplish, I would definitely give it a 5. I don't think there was any place that needed to be overstated. I think the musician, the producer was very close to hearing it and letting the vocal have it all, and creating a background too that had atmosphere that matched, which sometimes can be difficult. The flow of the record is perfect for me. I wouldn't change anything. And this is like after 6 or 7 listens, and then 3 more today. The songwriting, I think, is absolutely perfect. This is kind of one of those albums. I usually, when I'm listening to records, I'll get a feeling for the lyrics relatively quickly, unless it's something where the vocal is distorted or whatever. But this one, I'm finding more in the songs and the songwriting than I would be in melody, or hearing any tricks in the background. Although there was a point where I thought maybe those were windshield wipers in the background, like, but they were not. Thank God I have my headphones, because that helped. The musicianship, I think it's well stated. I that would be the only part where I'm wondering if somebody else would have said, maybe add to this or add to that. But I'm a 4. The songs that I really like, there is not a solitary one that I'm totally like, that I didn't like or super like. I would say I kind of don't remember The Future. That's the one song I kind of, in everything that doesn't get mentioned enough. So I would say out of the 11 songs, I'm probably 10 of the 11.
It's okay. No one can remember the future.
Yes. So for me, it's haunting. It's a haunting record. And he's done this before. I don't know whether it's intentional or it's just the style that of songwriting that happens, but he does look at things through a different eye and with a different ear. But his vocal is extremely convincing and convictive, and yeah, anyway, that's pretty much. Obviously, even in my article, I did write that P.S. If Noah was available, he'd certainly be welcome on the show at any point in time to hear what it's like to write in that style and what drives him. I want to thank my panelists for going down the album listen challenge on this one. I do believe our next album listen challenge is, I'm going to say the name wrong, probably. That wouldn't be good. The Barnstormers. This is Jimmy Barnes from Australia with Jules Holland. I think, Jeff, this is already in your wheelhouse. You and I had this on Album Review Saturday. You reviewed it with me.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good to get some other people in there. This is a big old school rock and roll. Old school rock and roll. Got a lot going on in it. I think it's fresh against everything else we've been discussing and talking about on this. And I think it'll be fun to get everybody's opinion on that one. So that'll be our next one. Will be the Barnstormers.
When is that date?
That'll be a week from today.
Okay,
Okay.
so I will be there, but I will be in a different time zone.
Yes,
I will
yes.
be
So
in
maybe we'll
the-
change it up at the time.
I will be doing the desert,
The desert time zone.
yeah, yeah. It's the what is it? Grateful Dude in the desert.
Yes, the Grateful Dead in the desert. We're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'm sure you're going to hear more than you thought you could ever hear. I want to thank you all for watching, and as always, happy listening.